It's a Thursday. It's the 9th day of March, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Also being brought to you by WYDOT. When there's ice and snow, take it slow. Fast-moving system moving across the northern Rockies into the northern plains today will keep us in a wintry weather pattern with scattered snow showers, areas of fog in some areas. Then mountain snow and areas of snow across the northern plains and parts of northeastern Wyoming, eastern Montana, but especially the Dakotas. The high country of the region going to get some snow from this quick moving system. Now behind it, it is going to get windy and it will be a little bit warmer. This unseasonably cold pattern that we've had here for the entire week will moderate a bit. Problem is that it is going to get a little bit windy. With a very active March pattern and more systems coming through, winds are going to occasionally rear their ugly head. We have a fast-moving front that's going to arrive Friday, bringing mountain snow and snow showers to the northern areas again. This would be up into Montana, the Dakotas again, and the high country of the Intermountain West. And areas west of the Divide will get snow and snow showers. The pattern that we're in through the weekend and into the start of next week favors mountains, and for you folks who live west of the Continental Divide or near the Divide, that's where the best chances of getting some snow will be. East of the Divide, we still have a little bit of a snow shadow going on, and we're going to just get snow shower activity coming over the Divide. But we're going to continue to see snow hitting the ski areas, snow piling up in the snowpack areas. So it's going to be areas along and west of that divide and into the mountain areas. Now, over the middle part of the weekend into early next week, that little moderation in temperatures we talked about is coming. But do expect this is the time of year where you get lots of ups and downs. But at least we're talking about some ups for a little bit. So temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer later this weekend. Probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. There'll be some windy areas, but we will get a little hint of temperatures maybe being a little bit warmer. However, there's a larger weather system coming off the west coast late Wednesday into Thursday of next week. Middle of next week, we'll need to watch out for a larger system. But do expect the weather forecast to continue to be rather tumultuous. We've got a lot going on, and the more weather systems, the more fronts you have, the harder the models are going to have trying to keep track of everything. And that goes with the territory. When you change seasons, there's a lot more going on, and it's harder for the weather forecast and especially the modeling to really grasp and get a hold of everything. So take it about 3 or 4 days at a time with the weather forecast. What about La Nina? Well, we'll tell you about that as we get to the end of the podcast. There's that swirl of clouds off the west coast of Washington and Oregon. That semi-permanent area of low pressure just continues to feed moisture into the west. Here, right here, is this disorganized wave that's currently moving through the region right here. And this is what's going to be producing snow across the northern plains and northern areas today. Look at the pipeline of moisture setting up to get pushed into California and the west coast again. Another very strong, moist jet stream flow is setting up, so more rain and snow headed towards the west coast and California. This pattern, not unlike what happened in January, where the west coast gets clobbered again, and the leftovers come into and areas over the divide. So here's today's upper level system going across the northern plains. There's your Washington storm. There's your blocking highs. And this is through Friday morning. So through Friday morning, this is where the precipitation is going to be falling. So you can see the path of these systems, again, favoring the northern areas. And this is the snow that's going to fall through Friday morning across the region. Then this next wave, this is for Saturday morning. A piece of that Washington storm gets pushed across the northern tier of the U.S. So again, those northern areas get snow. It's going to get windy, though, along and east of the divide as the low tracks to the north. So the double-edged sword with the wind. It's going to be windy as we get into Friday and Saturday. But it's a Chinook downsloping wind east of the divide. So this is what's going to help moderate our temperatures. But you see this westerly flow just coming into the west coast? That's going to continue to drive Pacific moisture inland. And that's why the mountains and areas west of the divide get more moisture. So this is the next round of moisture. See this heavier band of snow that'll go across Montana and North Dakota into Minnesota. But also notice the snows going into the Sierra Nevada, still snows into the mountains of Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, the whole region, the mountains will continue to get snowed on. There's a little patch of moisture that'll get into southeast Colorado and southwest Kansas with that wave coming through Friday night and Saturday. Nothing to write home about, but a little bit of moisture. But you can still see the downsloping in this area here and in this area here where you're just not going to get much east of the divide. And there's your snow total for the second system that arrives Friday into Saturday. This is that high pressure ridge that does come in to give us a little bit of a break from the northern plains through the Rockies and the southwest United States as we get into early to, let's say, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame of next week. A little high pressure, kind of a little hint of spring in the air, but there's more blocking highs up in the eastern Pacific and the Atlantic, so this trough right here will be forced into the western United States towards the middle of next week. So we'll see where this system ends up, whether or not it's a little system or a big system, don't know yet. But this will be a larger system and a trend back to colder weather by the middle of next week with that wave coming on through. But there's a lot going on. You can see all the lows that are just all across the northern tier of the U.S. into southern areas of Canada. Typical March. You tend to get more waves in the pattern as you start to change seasons. The 10-day cumulative forecast of precipitation for areas in the mountains and west of the divide continues to be very, very impressive, as well as 10-day cumulative snowfall totals across the west, really favoring the mountains and those northern plains, but back into the Pacific Northwest, the Sierra Nevada continue to just getting creamed. So we'll see those snowpack numbers continue to be very robust. The latest sea surface temperature anomaly as of this past Sunday, look at this. Look at that. That is just like a knife of warmth going into La Nina. And this area is continuing to show the sea surface temperature anomaly beginning to reverse. We still have a patch of coolness right here and some colder sea surface temperatures up here, but this is the area right here that is going to be last to go. So we are looking at La Nina. Well, technically it's not La Nina anymore. And if you look at where we were a year ago, look at this difference in sea surface temperature anomalies. This is where we were on March 5th a year ago, where La Nina was holding fast and steady and really not showing signs of weakening. So we've really seen an erosion of that colder water temperature regime. And we are now we're still in negative territory, but we are now in neutral status and headed this way slowly in the coming months. Have yourself a good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow